Oh my goodness, I really need to stop visiting that e-waste drop-off box. I came back with a lot more stuff today. Starting off, I found this. Now, there's a lot of cell phones in there actually. Most of them modern like Android phones and stuff. Well, early Android phones like Android 1.0, but they're all really beaten up with smashed screens and stuff. But I did find this Samsung model SPH M300. This is a flip phone from I think the mid-2000s, around the same time my flip phone was made. Now, this thing did have the charger with it in the box, but someone cut the cord off the charger, and I found the part that plugs into the AC outlet, but I couldn't find the other end of the cord that plugs into the phone, so I just left the whole charger there. But it did come with a battery, and the charger for my phone might fit this, so sometime when I'm home I'll have to dig that out and find out. And maybe the battery for my phone will fit this too, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I found this. I thought it was pretty cool. It's got a camera, and based on what I read, the external display is a full color LCD display. It's a bit scratched up, but it is in one piece, so that's neat. Second, I found this Nokia model 5125. This is a TDMA phone from around 1998. That's pretty cool. It says Rogers and AT&T. That's odd. I've never seen a cell phone that had more than one carrier on it. But it came with a battery, a nickel metal hydride battery. It's a very solid feeling phone, and I know for these old Nokias that's like saying that a bird can fly. But it is a very solid phone. And I got the charger for it, standard Nokia charger that Nokia used from the late 90s up until like the mid or late 2000s. So let's actually plug this in and see if it does anything. It doesn't turn on as it is right now. The battery's dead, either that or the phone's broken, but let's see if it does anything when we plug it in. Alright, let's see what this thing does. Nothing yet. It might need to sit a while before... Oh, there we go. We get a beep, we get a battery symbol, and we're charging. Let's see if it'll turn on. I don't know if this thing will turn on as long as it's plugged into power, if it's like my old Nokia 252 and that the battery has to be able to hold a charge to turn on even when it's plugged in. Let's find out. Oh hey! Alright. Interesting phone number. Area code 000. Hey, we're working, sweet. And we won't get a signal because TDMA doesn't exist anymore. This phone's also compatible with analog. But hey, it works. Yeah? It works perfect. There you go, perfect working TDMA Nokia phone. That's pretty sweet. Next, I thought this was too cool. I've never seen anything like this before. It's a McLean's brand. Who knows who actually made it. But it's a portable clock radio. This is apparently, from what I can tell, based on what it says on the tags and stuff, this is an entire clock radio in a portable battery-powered package. Look at that. It's got an AM/FM radio. It appears to have an alarm of some sort. Well, I just noticed the antenna's missing the top part. Oh well. It's got an LCD display. And it's got the tuning dial. And it's got set and mode buttons. It's got a little stand that flips up. And it's got tuning and volume controls. Well, I haven't tried this yet. It runs on 2 AA batteries. The battery compartment's nice and clean. I got some batteries, so let's throw them in and see if it works. Okay, we have a clock. Let me get into some better light. Got a clock. It's got a light button here. Is there a backlight? Well, if there is, it doesn't appear to work anymore. Does the radio work? Oh. Really loud. I just barely turned the volume up and it gets really loud.
Improper use of membership database, improper use of the parliamentary mailing privilege.
Well, with the exception of the, what I assume is for the display backlight, this thing appears to work perfect. And it doesn't appear to be an actual clock radio more than a combination of a alarm clock and a radio. So basically that just means that it lacks the functionality to turn the radio on for the alarm. But anyway, otherwise this thing seems to work perfect, and it's a really cool device. I've never seen anything like this before. I really haven't. So I will make a separate video about this thing someday. Next, oh man, I was really excited to come across this. This is a Sony model TC-WR565 cassette deck. And there's no date of manufacture on it, but the manual, which Sony has online, is copyright 1995. And it's a dual well cassette deck. And while this deck, while this well opens, this one does not. The eject button just doesn't push in all the way. So I would bet this thing works perfect, but just has bad belts. But let's plug it in and find out. It's a really nice cassette deck, actually. Given how new it is and the fact that it has two decks, since oftentimes two-deck machines don't have as many features as single-deck machines. But it does have Dolby B and C noise reduction. And it's got all electronic controls. And yeah, manual record level, everything. Let's plug this thing in and see to what extent it works. Alright, we're plugged in. Let's see what goes bang. Oh, it turns on. Oh. This deck's going clunk clunk. I don't know if I mentioned or not, but there is a tape in there. Oh, look at that nice vacuum fluorescent display. White and red in color. Very crisp display. And, yeah. Nope, doesn't open. Yeah, I bet this thing works perfect, but just has bad belts. Yeah, it does at least turn on. Let's, I say, I have my tools here now, or at least my screwdriver. Yeah. I say let's open this thing up and see if I'm right that it's just bad belts. And something that's really nice about a deck this new. Now think about my Aiwa ADF770 cassette deck. That's from around 1985. And being the era that that deck is from, inside it is just a nightmare. In addition to one whole circuit board that spans the entire area, it's got several vertical circuit boards just because it couldn't fit all of the circuitry on one single board. And there's hardly any integrated circuits, so it's all discrete componentry. And there's like dozens, if not hundreds, of wires interconnecting everything. It's an absolute nightmare. But this thing's from the 90s, and it should be very nice inside. I'm expecting just a single circuit board with a few integrated circuits and very few wires compared to the Aiwa, and it should be very nice inside. So let's find out. Just as I thought. Look how simple this is in there. One circuit board that doesn't even take up the whole size of the chassis. A linear power supply. And on the board there, a manufacture date of April 26, 1995. 2 days before my first birthday. Now let's take a look at these decks. Okay, there appears to be two or three belts. Yeah, it looks like just 2 belts per deck. Nice. And this one, I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but the belt on the motor here, it's not turning when I spin the whole. Yeah, it's really flabby. It's gone really loose. That is exactly the issue. Let's the belt on this deck looks nice. Are we still plugged in? No, I unplugged it. Let's plug it in, and I'll turn it on. And I'll spin the deck by hand, and maybe we can get it to eject. I'm spinning the mechanism by hand. Well, I spun the motor a few times until something clicked, and then I pressed the play button and it started to go. And then it froze up again because it hit resistance and the belt couldn't get traction. So I hit stop, and I think now, hey, let's see what kind of a tape we have. Pink Floyd, sweet. Well, let's turn this thing around and see if this other deck's any good. And play. Nope. Nope. Belt came right off that one. Yeah, looks like this thing is in need of 2 sets of belts. But hey, it did move the tape 4 positions. And let me guess. Yep, now that's stuck. Well, you know, it's got potential. Well, I actually got it playing. I just had to put tension on the belt while it was trying to engage. It's working now. Level controls work. And this is an auto-reversing deck, and I've already looked inside. And it's got one of those crazy funky heads that actually spins around. Well, I thought, yeah. It spins, it flips the head around to switch sides rather than having a bidirectional head. It's kind of weird, and I've heard it's actually a very finicky system that doesn't stand the test of time well. But she's playing. Oh man, that's what this does, is pitch control. It literally adjusts the speed of the tape. You can hear it in the motors and see it possibly. That's awesome. I really like that. It's really cool. Well, heck, I'd say this thing has a lot of potential. Someday I'll buy a belt kit or 2 belt kits. Depends on whether a belt kit comes with belts for both decks. And of course, I haven't been able to listen to this thing to see if it was actually putting out sound when it was playing the tape. But it was at least coming up on the display there. And yeah, you know, if belts are all this thing needs, and there's no other problems with it, I'd be inclined to keep this thing and replace my Aiwa 80 F770 with it. Now granted, the Aiwa is a much higher quality deck. It's probably a better sounding deck, and it's considered one of the best consumer grade cassette decks ever made. But the thing's old, it's really complex inside. If anything goes wrong, it's a nightmare to service. It's already got a rather detrimental problem wherein it works fine, but then sometimes randomly it'll just stop playing the tape and reset itself. I think it might be a cold solder joint, and that deck has like 800 quadrillion solder joints on it. So, you know, trying to find where that is would be a nightmare. But if this deck works perfect, and it's got most of the same features, if not more, that the Aiwa does, and I can get a couple of $100 on eBay for the Aiwa, which according to what I've read I can, in its present condition, then I'd be inclined to sell the Aiwa and keep this. But we'll take it one step at a time, we'll see. But anyway, there's everything that I found on today's e-waste box search. I better stop going there for now because I'm picking up way too much stuff. But anyway, there you guys go. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Goodbye. First, we've got a Dell Inspiron 530 desktop computer. Take a look at that. Well, there doesn't seem to be an optical drive there. There is air though. Can we open the door and... Alright, contact. Starts right up, no problem. Lamps are driven about 4 watts each, so not great, but not bad. And I'll put on the 2 lamp mode here.